Hey, welcome back, everybody. We are on episode 27, Work in Progress. Welcome to Work in Progress, the show about work, life, and everything in between from Reno Collective Co-working. My name is Colin.
And I am Rachel. I'm excited that you guys are all here.
Yeah, we've got 3 new topics to talk about, to have some fun with this week. And the first one is more co-working related, I think, than most, and it's standing desks. So,
Yeah.
standing desks, underrated, overrated. I think you've gotten some feedback from members, but how do you like to work? What do you prefer as far as sitting, standing, a little bit of both?
I'm kind of a fan of a little bit of both. One thing that I learned actually in one of our previous episodes that struck me was Kelly from the studio had mentioned that people with standing desks are forgetting that they need to wear shoes or to have one of those anti-fatigue mats. And so I just wanted to do a little disclaimer. Is remember, if you are spending your time standing all day long at your desk, because it's healthier,
Right.
which it is, please wear shoes, some sort of support, or get one of those anti-fatigue mats. So there's a little note on the side, but I personally like being able to get up and sit down and stand up and sit down. But I sit on my desk here is a tall desk with it's sort of permanent stand desk with a bar stool,
Mm-hmm.
so I can sit in that way, but it's not I'm not raising it up and down,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of cool ergonomics things. If you Google it, you can find
Mm-hmm.
where there's like certain heights that are good. And if you are going to use a stool, there's something about using a foot, like having a place to actually put your feet, and depending on if it's 1 or 2 feet. If you're
Oh,
fully sitting on it, if you're on a bar stool, there's just lots of different things. And I'll have to see if I can find it for the show notes, but there was a really good, like a professor of body mechanics that was going into the idea that like it's not sitting that's killing us, it's sitting in one position, right? It's so like in her house she
oh,
has I think it was like I'm just adjusting my mic, it's really loud. She has like at her dining table there's like 8 different chairs instead of
oh,
all the same chair, because
okay.
she like literally is like, yeah, sometimes you sit in this chair, sometimes you sit in that chair, and you just don't want to get used to it. And I mean, I at this desk, this is a standing desk, the same one that we have at the collective, and I
Mm-hmm.
have like a really cheap plastic IKEA chair, but when I'm sitting in it, I'm usually not all the way back to it, and I
Yes.
try to
Yeah.
sit on the edge of it, and it's not a
Mm-hmm.
good computer chair, and it's something that I've been starting to look at, and I don't know if it's because of all the ads that I've been getting for computer chairs, but or if it's just that like I'm starting to feel the kinks of sitting in this kind of crappy chair. But I
Oh,
actually rarely use the standing desk portion of this at home. Now
oh,
that I'm thinking
really?
about it, but at work I use
Oh.
it a lot. So when I'm at the collective, it's usually at that second level with a bar stool or all the way up, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I'm feeling a little bit lazy, I'll go all the way to the lowest setting. Uh,
Sit in a comfy chair.
yeah.
Have you seen? Okay, so this one, I meant to find out the name of it. I keep seeing it on Facebook, but it's a chair that you can sit in, but it's like the person, it shows them meditating. It shows them at like 4 different angles of this chair, but at one point they're higher than a bar stool, and it like the back of the chair becomes a ledge, and then the headrest becomes a backrest,
Huh.
and they're like it's like a yoga chair thing, and they're in all different kinds of angles. But yeah, I was like, I like the idea of the different types of like positions you can be in, but the fact that one of them was like this altar,
Yeah.
this like throne, was a little weird. um but I remember a friend
Do
having a
a child's
chair.
pose, child's pose desk.
Yes, like really high up, in high school, where, and you've probably seen these, where you actually put your weight on your knees.
Mm-hmm.
Like you sit and you're tilted, and then your feet go behind you, but your knees, like your kneecaps, rest
Hmm.
on.
Yeah,
So
there's
it's
also
like a
the chairs that
platform.
have the
Yeah.
rest is in front of you instead. So it's almost like I don't know how to describe it. but it would almost
Oh,
look like you're sitting backwards in a chair.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like very in sync looking, I
Yeah.
guess.
Or
Okay.
chairs that allow you to sit cross-legged and so forth.
That's what the one does, this
Yeah.
yoga chair thing, but it like has elevations and
John
weird
wants us to
stuff.
discuss squatting desks, which I think you would, just like sitting, standing, squatting has a lot of benefits to it. So I don't
So
think
you're
you're going to get a lot of work done
yeah,
squatting, but
like,
that is
so
something
you just all the way?
that we've mostly lost, right? That most people can't
Yeah.
maintain like that squat for very long.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly. But when you're that would be a hard way to sit, would be squatting forever.
yeah,
But I could see like cross-legged on the floor
yeah,
with like a low
a low too.
can do that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
All right.
I
And
think
then
the whole COVID situation has caused just anything that you can sell anyone who's working from home. So like I know
pretty much.
I've been getting ads for autonomous Veridesk,
Mm-hmm.
IKEA, all the different brands, the
Yep.
gaming chairs, the all the gear. Which we did an episode on work from home setups, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to tune up your setup and get everything that you want.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's good.
It's gotta be it's gotta work so that you're actually doing the work. One of our members, Zach, had sent his what he has is a very desk. So it's one of those where you have a regular desk or a table, however, and it lifts and lowers so that you can have your computer. It becomes a stand-up desk. It's a much smaller surface, but it becomes a stand-up desk.
Hmm.
But what he was saying was that with standing up and working, he was more prone to walking away from his work
Interesting.
because he's already standing up. And so, oh, I'll just grab that or I'll go get a cup of coffee. So he's not like in the flow as much when
Yeah.
he's standing, whereas when he's sitting, he can get into like focused work. That's interesting.
Well, I think that's where your environment is important. Like my desk
Mm-hmm.
at the collective is very much in the open. Yours is in the open, and
Yep.
that is going to be more prone to, hey, can you come over here and do this? Can you come over, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you were staring, a desk towards the wall. If you're in your own office, if you're in your own room, I think
Yeah.
that might be a little bit different. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Make it a little simpler.
So I'd say a little bit for the underrated, overrated. Standing desks right now, a little overrated in terms of you don't have to have one to get work done, right?
Right. And as we know from another member, even if you do buy one, it doesn't mean you're going to use it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people buy them with best intentions. It's like a gym
Mm-hmm.
membership.
Yep. Well, I know one of the concerns, in fact, I mean, I've seen you do it where you're moving the desk up or you're pressing the button, but it goes up and then something pops out, like a cord pops
Mhm.
out because the electrical stays in one spot or the cords
Oh
are
yeah,
in
you got to design
like
everything for that.
yeah, exactly. So you've got to have long enough cords, otherwise your computer's gonna like shoot to the back of the thing
Oh yeah, I've
as
seen
you
a few
raise.
monitors take a dive off the side just because the
Oh,
cord gets shorter and shorter. Yeah.
yeah, that would
So
be
definitely something to
painful.
think about. But
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's our more work-related topic for the week. The next
Yep.
one's a little bit of a rabbit hole. If some of this might be something that you are familiar with, it's something that we've talked about on the show with regards to the attention economy, and we
Mm-hmm.
talked about social dilemma pretty early on in like episode 2 or something.
Yep.
But with the attention economy, we've been noticing and kind of commenting on this idea of like an aspiration economy, and after Googling it a little bit, it is a term that people are starting to use more. So I thought we could jump into the aspiration economy. There's not really an underrated, overrated on this one. This is going to be what is this thing and what is the rabbit hole that we're talking about. And I can kick it off with what I've been seeing. So
Mm-hmm.
there seems to be, this is going to be the rant of, kids these days. But
Do you have that? Do you have that?
Yeah, we need
That
that.
little GIF you had up
Old
earlier.
man yells at cloud. Get off my lawn. So the thing that we're seeing, and this is probably something that's always existed before social media, but
Mm-hmm.
the idea of I would say like snake oil and snake oil salespeople definitely existed before social media.
Mm-hmm.
But these are specific accounts that are using different social cues to like create credentials for themselves that are not necessarily true. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these people they run what are called confidence scams. So they're they're selling you a course on selling your own course, right? Or
Right.
how to make money online. It's the get rich quick schemes. And
Mhm.
you know, these things have always existed. You know, before working at home was really a thing, you would see little signs around town that say like, make this much money working from home or whatever. And it, you know,
Yep.
that used to be like, oh, that can't be true. And you know, now
Yep.
most of us do that.
Yep.
But what's interesting, if you've seen these ads, they will spend a lot of money on ads, sponsored posts, pre-rolls before YouTube. And the most famous one, I think, is the Ty Lopez one, which is most people have probably seen, which is, you know, he's in his garage and he's like, this is my Lamborghini in the Hollywood Hills, but, and then he like stops and, you know, but you know what I love more than cars is knowledge. And he shows like his whole wall of books. And it was
Stored in the
quickly,
garage.
yeah, stored in the
With a
garage.
car.
So you've got this
Great
Lamborghini
place.
with like, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in books.
Yeah.
And it all turned out that, you know, the mansion, the car, all these things were all rented for this video. So he spends a lot of money to create these things that people, you know, quote unquote aspire to.
Illusion.
The
right?
illusion of it. And you found
Mhm.
a great one today too, where it's just, you know, you read through these things and you wonder like, do they know what they look like? And then maybe to us, we're like, oh yeah, that like there's a scam going on here. But what we're seeing is that a lot of people are definitely falling for these things, right? And
Yeah.
you were asking like, how did, you know, these people must come from money in order to be able to do it, but it's literally like a pyramid scheme where, you know, they can't point to a business or a course or a thing that they've done. They make money from you paying them for their secrets, right?
Right.
And the secret is that they are at the top of the pyramid, right? So
Yeah.
definitely not new. Pyramid schemes have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But
If you're
yeah.
wondering, you have to be at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
That is the secret.
And the aspiration economy side of this was more that, like, if you look at most of the brand accounts, even on Instagram, a lot of them might be about something. So, like, I've seen a lot of programming accounts on Instagram, but most of them don't focus on programming. They focus on the fancy gear, the fancy lifestyle,
Right.
you know, the aspiration of it. And those accounts get really popular. The accounts actually focusing on the content don't, and that this is where the you know, the get off my lawn rant comes from, is just that, like, it's not, you know, from a place of I guess for some people it might be a place of jealousy, like we want that, we need that, so I'm gonna follow and surround myself, you know, kind of like The Secret, right? Is like we're gonna manifest this kind of stuff, but a lot of it is like very thinly veiled. Like there was this thing that this guy rented a room at Harvard and filled it with people paying. So you could pay $3,000 to speak at Harvard. Everyone in the audience is there to speak at Harvard. And
Wow.
you speak at Harvard in front of a bunch of other people. You're literally just rotating all these people on stage. God. And it's very similar to the TEDx's and things like that, which most of them are very legitimate, but there's a lot of TEDx's that are not legitimate. Yeah. And so they'll ride on that reputation of, you know, Harvard speaker, TEDx speaker. Yeah. By the way, I'm selling this course for you to be, you know, an 8-figure earner. Take my course.
Yep.
And a lot of people are, you know, dropping their stimulus money, they're dropping their savings, they're dropping money that they don't have on these things and making these people, you know, richer. And so they can afford to do the renting the mansion and doing all these crazy videos because they know that they're going to be making a lot of money off of people. So a little bit of a rant topic, but it is very fascinating. So I'll end and let you take over from there with, maybe we can kind of take this apart a little bit for a few minutes. But with there's a whole channel on YouTube called CoffeeZilla, and he was on a podcast that I listened to called This Week in Startups, where they really just went into the mechanics of how some of these people operate, why and how. And it was really interesting because CoffeeZilla, he's been kind of either interviewing victims of these programs or even calling out and interviewing some of the actual people at the top.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of them don't do their homework before they go on the show, and then they get asked, you know, tell us more about your business, and then they're like very defensive and things. So
all promotion, right? Yeah, well, I find my background is in public relations, and a lot of public relations is getting press coverage.
Oh, yeah.
And so whenever people have like a press section on their site, not every time do I follow up, but a lot of times I'll look at it in order to see, okay, who's actually interested in covering you, or is this all from your local like little teeny tiny 10-page newspaper? Not that that's not important, but if you're promoting something as press coverage, it's better be press coverage, not,
Right.
oh, look, they mentioned us. And I got onto a couple of sites, a couple of those where it was talking about press coverage, but it's like the Vice, and you go and, no, or the Times, and it's like the front page of the New York Times, or
Yeah.
and they've got all the right logos, but then nobody's following through to actually check to see if those logos are correct, or if they're even links. And a lot of them they're not even links. But that was a little tangent I went down today. But when I was talking about this with other people, when I think about the aspiration economy, is that idea of selling you something based on who you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be the person with the gorgeous, mid-century modern desk with this and this and this and this. And so selling you that thing that you really want to be, and you might even be buying into, like, beyond the classes and the courses and the get rich quick part, is like that, just that sense of, I'm going to buy this because it's who I want to be,
Right.
which is funny because that's in direct, like, opposition to one of Atomic Habits. I'm pretty sure we talk about Atomic Habits every single show. But the idea of, who am I? Do I want to write a book, or do I look at it as, I am a writer, now I just need to get started? But yeah, that idea of like, I want to be so focused at work, so I'm going to buy all the best ways of having all the tools on my desk, right?
Yeah.
And some of that, like,
some of that's okay. I think it's okay to want
some of it
things,
is, yes,
right? I think
yes.
the trick here, and the biggest issue I have, is that some of these people are just taking advantage of people, right? And so
right.
you can want the mid-century modern furniture,
yes,
but you also realize that you can want those things, and then you know the work that it takes to get those things.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It's a trade-off for time, energy, money, things like that. Versus, the ones that stand out to me right now are these like fulfilled by Amazon, FBA type things. So it's
right.
So-and-so didn't have any experience, and they launched a new, drop shipping company, and they made $1 million in 6 months. It's like, cool. How much money do I have to pay you to learn how to do that? The secrets of the person who had no experience.
How much
Those
time?
Kinds of things, right? And most companies, most successes are not. If it's an overnight success, it took 5 to 10 years for that overnight success. There's a lot of work, and that's I guess that's more the ranty part, is that kids these days don't want to work hard, right? No, but it's and I would even say,
I'm
like,
older
a lot
than
of
you, and I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying it either. I think it's fun. It's fun to make fun of ourselves, but like, a lot of kids want to be YouTubers today, and I actually think that that's a different thing, because they know, like, becoming a YouTuber is a lot of work. It's a lot of consistency, a lot of time, and I actually think that's a thing that you could aspire to, because it teaches you a lot of skills, a lot of tools, a lot of things that, if it doesn't work out, you can go into video, you can do a lot of things with it, marketing, whatever that might be.
Right.
Versus, come pay for my course, and then when you log in, you realize that, like, you just bought, a bill of goods. That's what a lot of this is. And when someone says that they're a high number closer, or whatever these different things are, they're closing other people, selling them on closing, right? It's not point to the companies, point to the things that you worked on, and it's almost always veiled in, like what you were saying, the lifestyle that someone wants. So it's not them just telling you about it, it's them telling you about it at the pool, at the beach, in front of the Lambo, all these things. They're not going to mention all those things. They're just kind of being like, look over there, look over there.
Well, and it's also, part of it is like, it's also attainable, right? Because all you have to do, it's very simple. Look at all the people that are at your fingertips, like, through social media, you can reach the world. And I think that's sort of similar to the YouTube example you gave, because you have So like all the kids, right? They want to be YouTubers. The kids that actually are, which it's not just a kid sitting there, it's a family, and that
Hmm.
family has an entire PR agency. Like the people
Yeah.
who are making money have hired people to help them make the money because that's what everybody in business does. Like at some point you can't do it all yourself if you want to expand like
Right.
exponentially, right? So it's like when growing up, I want to be an actress. Well, you can be in your, elementary school play and your high school play, and maybe like the community theater play or something like that. But there wasn't this stage for the whole world to see, even though no
Right.
one is watching. Whereas when it's so accessible, like, oh, but it's possible. Someone
Absolutely. Someone
could
could go
watch this
viral.
video,
Yeah, someone could
right?
go
Like,
viral.
versus the only way you're breaking into Hollywood is if you go to damn Hollywood.
Right.
I
Well,
think that
but
was the line.
was there the course that told you the secrets of becoming an actor
Oh,
or an actress, right?
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Come to Hollywood. We'll take a few modeling shots and then
Right.
you'll be a star. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so they make
it's a
money. I mean, even
downhill.
in startups, the joke about startups is that most, the t-shirt companies do really well. And, I've fallen to that. How many companies have I started where we bought shirts and,
Yeah.
I got a box of shirts that I could sell somebody.
Yeah, well,
But, I mean,
the
some of it, there's
stickers.
a difference between the faking it till you make it and
Yeah.
stealing from people. And I think,
Oh, yeah.
there's, even when I think of YouTubers that are really famous now, very few of them got really, I mean, a lot of them have been growing because of the fact that we're
Mm-hmm.
at home now.
Mm-hmm.
But they put in the time, they put in the work. And,
Yes.
I think most of our audience, everyone who's listening, this is, preaching to the choir. But it's something that we had to talk about because it's been so interesting. Unfortunately, I went down the rabbit hole of like, looking into some of these people, and then now I get the worst ads I've ever seen in my life, and
Cookied to
I just
death.
need to like reset all my profiles and maybe like start going down like a cat or puppy rabbit hole so I can get different ads.
Yeah, look up spaghetti recipes or something
Yeah,
like that, and maybe it'll
yeah, I
change
want more
more.
food recipes for sure.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
anything else you want to talk about there? We could talk about this for a while, but definitely go
I
check out CoffeeZilla
Yeah,
on YouTube if you're interested. And be
I
warned, you
am
might start
interested.
getting like really shitty YouTube ads, but
Yeah.
if you do want to start fulfilled by Amazon business, I think you should. But I would
Hmm.
not go spend a bunch of money on a course that teaches you how to make $1 million in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it still isn't gonna work.
yeah,
It just still isn't. There's a reason Oprah's not selling How to Become Oprah in 6 weeks.
yeah.
Someone probably
Speaking of
is.
someone who's been at it for a really long time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right, exactly.
All
All right.
right.
Well, the third thing is a fun one to wrap up. I don't even think this is a question of overrated or underrated. Well, maybe parts of it are,
Yeah, let's talk
but
about it.
it's actually camping. So I know for me, camping is it? It's like it's not even. I guess I would say it's underrated, but people really like camping. I think I looked at it prior as overrated, and then we got a trailer, and now I feel safe
Yeah, that's a
because
big part.
I'm petrified of bears. And so, of course, the first trip we took the trailer on, we left the back open, and the back is where the kitchen is, and we had a bear
Oh yeah.
come
Oh
in
yeah,
and
it's because
take
you have
over.
like the kitchen opens up
On
outside,
the
right?
outside,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. So fortunately, I was inside the trailer, inside the camper. We were all sleeping, but we were woken up, and he was damn loud. But I felt totally comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay. You can take all the coffee grounds, all the pistachios you want. I'm inside the cardboard.
Yeah.
You're outside the cardboard.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say underrated, and I think with the underrated, it's just that it's something that I can't get. I would love to do more of. I don't find the time to do more of it, so I think that's something that's going to
Yeah.
happen this year is more camping.
Yeah.
Not RV life yet. Chris is shouting out RV life.
No,
Um,
yeah, I don't know.
but
Not with
I am
kids.
looking for some improvements. So like we built like a box for the back of the Forerunner with these really long drawer slides and things. So that's
Right.
for me, it's making it just so that it's so easy. We're ready to go anytime we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm going down a different rabbit hole. Maybe that's the one I need to go back down again. Is
Yeah.
is rooftop tents.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the teardrop
Teardrop
trailer
is
that you were
another,
going to
yeah,
build by
that's,
the end of June, I thought.
yeah, so that was a little ambitious. So yeah, I went down the rabbit hole of teardrops,
Yep.
making one, buying one, whichever option. And there's some really cool plans. There's some cool design
Yeah.
yourself teardrops, but I don't have a garage, so that has made it a little bit difficult to think through
Yeah.
how we'd actually build that before this season. But rooftop tent, don't have to build anything, so we're gonna try
This
that.
is true. Yeah, exactly. We were talking to one of the members, Mike, about rooftop tents and the various types. When I was a kid, we had a Land Rover that extended, had a rooftop tent, but it was completely folded in. So it was like a little sandwich, and then it came out, but
Oh, nice.
the ladder connected to the hood of the car. It was someone had made it themselves, so it was wooden screws, and
Yeah, top of the
they'd
line.
put the top of the line, let me tell you. But it was really fun. But it's interesting because for me, growing up, like that was what we did for vacations. We went camping. We didn't do hotels. We didn't go to resorts ever. It was always camping. And I think maybe I like early with our kids, I was kind of like, oh, I think I'm golden on camping. Like I don't need to camp. This is crazy. And then camping a couple of times where I just don't sleep. It didn't matter how fancy the blow up
Yeah,
bed was. Like I wasn't going to sleep because I just get really, really uncomfortable with the thought of like a thin, like bit of fabric between me and the things out there with the claws and the teeth and the stuff. And yeah, so like having the trailer makes it so much, or camper, I guess, yeah, trailer. We have an R pod, which we love. But having that just makes me feel so much more secure, like being inside with a door.
yeah.
And it totally made camping fun again.
Well,
Like
you have a little
I
bit
wasn't
less
stressed.
setup, and
Mm-hmm. Yep.
everything's just in the AirPod, hopefully ready to go.
Yes. And there's a bathroom. And I'm sorry, but yeah.
Hey,
Amazing. That changed the
that's the
world.
reality of it.
It's
No, and
like
I think
I can sleep.
a lot of people are finding camping for the first time because of the pandemic, and
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I think there's been a lot of back and forth on they're not treating the outdoors right, but also like
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a gatekeeper in front of someone else experiencing outdoors, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
yes, we need to do some
Mm-hmm.
work to teach people how to be good stewards of
Yeah.
campsites, the land, all that kind of stuff. Some
Yeah.
people are, even before COVID, just, hot springs and stuff like that, they've been
Mm-hmm.
trashing them before COVID even happened. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
part of that's education, but I think, it's good that people are experiencing it and getting out of their boxes because
Yeah.
thankfully vaccines and things are starting to roll out, but camping is still like one of the,
Mm-hmm.
best ways to travel right now, and hopefully more travel will open up, but we're
Yeah.
gonna try to get in as many as we can. I got a national parks pass for Christmas, so we're gonna use that
Nice.
and try to
Yeah, we did.
hit
We've
them.
already booked a couple of things like in California because that whole 6 month, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah. So what are some tips on that? So if you haven't done this before, most sites on recreation.gov,
uh-huh.
you can actually go search for the days that you want. A
Yep.
lot of them open up like 6 months out.
To the
So
date, not
yeah,
because I
so
thought it was like the month, but
yeah,
it's
so
the
so
day.
how do you get a spot?
Well, so we what we did last year, we spent a lot of time. We have some friends that we spent a lot of time with. We have equal. They've got young kids as well, and so we would go kind of scope out the place. As in, well, the other couple were very like into scoping out pictures, so they found everything on, Facebook, Yelp, etc. Found a spot they liked. When you do recreation.gov, you can. I don't know how far into the future you can do it, but the day that you want to start. So like July 4th. So if you want to be there on July 4th, it's February 4th, right? That's 6 months. Yeah, that's 6 months.
Yeah.
So you can book it on February 4th. Nothing will show up as open, but you can book the whole time. So you could book like 8 days, but you can't actually book February 5th or February 6th. You just book like the length of time. So that was recreation. I'm pretty sure that was recreation.gov. But then we were doing a couple of the well, Travel Nevada. No, Travel Nevada doesn't. Oh, I can't remember. Well, we like Donner. It's close.
Yeah, so there's like state parks and
Fun.
national
Yeah.
parks. Yeah.
I'm not a big like go out into the middle of nowhere
Yeah, so we've done that. So
not dry camping. But
we
yeah.
learned the 6 month thing the hard way. I think it was in June. So like the height of everything being closed, and we couldn't find. And we went down to the middle of Nevada, and we found a campsite that we knew some friends who had been there before. So we were. It was Mike and Annie who had been there. So we weren't completely
Nice.
blind, but very much away from civilization, and
Uh-huh.
2 vault toilets and a bunch of very
Yep.
empty campsites. So it's awesome
Yep.
to find that, and there was no fees at that park, and no
Nice.
registration. But
Yeah.
for some of those things, I really like. There's a website called theoutbound.com, and
Oh.
then if you have to and you're looking for a spot, there's things like Outdoorsy and Hip Camp, which like are like Airbnb for private land. So a lot of people have land, and some of them are like, we're going to put up an Airstream and a campfire and a toilet, and some of them are like, we own this land, come at your own risk.
Come and park. We last year we did a couple. It's not Hip Camp, it's another one. Hip Camp was more expensive at the time. Oh, what was it called? But yeah, we did a couple places, like literally pulled up to a guy's. They had like 3 acres, and their house was set at the back, and they had made a dirt driveway, and there were 4 of us that set up. But it was really sweet because they had every morning they brought out like the painted metal camping cups and the trays with like the speckle
coffee and stuff.
Yes, so they brought out coffee and cinnamon rolls to everyone at first thing in the morning. It was like,
that's
this
nice.
is really cute. Yeah. But it was our own trailer that we parked. But it was fun.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's a pretty safe way of being like a bed and breakfast without having to have people in your house.
Exactly. And actually there was one I forgot. I think Hip Camp does it too, but it's in Fallon, and it's at Latin Farms. I think it's Latin Farms, and they do it in their parking lot, and they have a huge field that you can play in. If you've got kids, it's really good. But sometimes you buy they encourage you to buy something from the store, because this site was free versus Hip Camp where you pay when you get there. But they've got animals like chickens and some goats and things like that are in the pens, and then you can walk around a little bit of the garden. It wasn't very far, what was that, 45 minutes, but it was nice to not be stuck in the house.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, for me, I enjoy the whole part of setting up camp until it takes too long, right? Like Burning Man, I think is it's a very different type of camping. But I do enjoy the building up of the city, the town, your camp and your spot and all that kind of stuff. But usually by the end of the week, it's hot out there, and then you have to realize that you're going to be taking it all down at some point.
Take it down,
and try to fit it back in the car smaller than you brought it out there, and that usually doesn't work either. So that's why I'm excited to have those pull-out drawers. We originally did the drawers to actually try to sleep in the back of the 4Runner, but I don't fit in the back of the 4Runner. So the ice chest and all the gear will go in the 4Runner, and then the cool thing about the rooftop tent is that you can keep all of your pads and sleeping bags and all that stuff in there and just fold it down so that you just pop it back open. And it doesn't work in great in all conditions, and Mike has shared his love and hate for rooftop tents. But he actually did a good video. We can also share that on why rooftop tents are awesome. So
nice.
If you haven't seen his YouTube channel, All Terrain Family, some good stuff for if you're trying to get out.
Very good stuff. Yeah. Highly recommended as spring and summer approach, supposedly, as it snows outside.
Once the snow's gone, we'll be camping. So it'll work.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, all right then. I think that's episode 27.
In the can. So where can people find us online, Rachel?
You can find us everywhere. You can watch us live on Twitch and YouTube, and you're probably on one of those right now because you kind of have to be. But we have recorded versions are available on YouTube, but you can always find us at renocollective.com. And we are currently offering online memberships. Not in person quite yet, but we have our fingers crossed that we're going to start getting a little safer and do that soon. Yeah, and you'll find us on all the socials, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, all those.
Not the Clubhouse, but
Not the Clubhouse. Sorry.
All right.
Not
We'll
the TikTok.
see you all next week, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.